Hey everyone, it's Zach with the Pro Shop here at Reman Music, and today I'll be going through a very basic and general setup when it comes together, putting together a PA. This is great for, again, a house of worship, putting together a small band, singer-songwriter duo, or even for general press conferences and meetings. And so today I'll be using a Shure Beta 58 dynamic microphone, a Yamaha MG06 non-powered mixer, as well as a Yamaha DBR 10-inch powered speaker, along with two XLR microphone cables. First things first, I like to make sure that everything's plugged in and also look at the mixer and the speaker, make sure all the levels are down, just because I don't want to run into any surprises like hums, pops, hisses, or even feedback for that matter, just in case somebody else used the mixer and speaker before I did. So we'll go ahead and make sure everything's plugged in. I got my mixer plugged in as well as the speaker plugged in, and then we'll go ahead and look at the level controls, make sure those are all down. So I'll go over to the speaker here, make sure the levels are turned all the way down. And I will then look at the mixer here. First, we'll start on the far right, make sure the master volume or master output is down. That's the indication of the red knob here. And from there, we're going to go and turn all the channels down as well. We'll also make sure that our two gain knobs are turned down. And we'll come back to some of that terminology here in just a moment. Now that all that is turned down, we'll go ahead and hook everything up. I already have the XLR microphone cable plugged into the back of the speaker here. Now I will take the female end from that cable and plug it into the left output of the mixer. And you'll hear that click, just make sure that it's nice and tight in there. And then from there, we'll go ahead and plug in our microphone. So first, we'll take the female end, plug that into the back of the microphone. Again, hear that click. And then from there, we'll take the male end and go into the first input of the mixer. Now, when it comes to our mixer, we'll go ahead and look over the general specifics here. I plug into the first channel because we have two combo jacks. These are in reference to that I can plug a 3-pin XLR microphone cable, or I can also plug in a high impedance like a guitar, keyboard, drums, etc. into this channel. We also have a couple of stereo inputs here. That's for a guitar, keyboard, drums, or even like a computer, MP3, CD player. Moving our way down, on the first channel, we do have a couple gray buttons here. Again, we'll also cover some of these other terminologies and more of a deep dive in later videos. But the first one I want to address is this pad option. If you are plugging an XLR microphone cable, this would be a low impedance input. So we'll go ahead and make sure that pad button is all the way up or turned off. Now if you decide you want to plug in a keyboard, guitar, drums, etc., you want to make sure that pad is down. What that is a 20 dB cut, so that way you don't run into clipping, distortion, etc. So we'll go ahead and make sure that's out for our microphone. Moving our way down, we have a gain control. This is the level input. So this will be addressed as kind of your headroom. So usually a lot of these mixers will have kind of an indication knob on where to set those. Best rule of thumb though is to go ahead and bring your volume up when turned on, and then slowly bring up these volumes to a comfortable listening level. Moving that way down, we also have our 2-band EQ. This is the high and low frequencies. We'll get back to those in just a moment. And then we have our level control for this channel. So now that we've kind of addressed some of that, we'll go ahead and turn everything on, try to get some volume. First, we'll always start by turning on our mixer, and then we will turn on our speaker. Now we've got those on, I will go ahead and bring the volume up on the speaker here, and you'll see this nice 0. That's kind of, again, what we refer to as unity. Good starting spot for addressing general levels. Now that that is set, we will go ahead and take a look at our mixer here down below. We'll bring our master volume up right about noon. Again, a lot of these mixers will have kind of a general spot where you can set them for a nice comfortable level. Now we'll go to our first channel here, pad button off, moving our way down. I'll go ahead and bring the gain knob up, again, to give us some overall headroom. Tap on the microphone and you'll notice that we don't have any volume yet. Again, but this is just sending the microphone into the mixer, not out to the speaker yet. Working our way down, we'll go to the level control, and I'll start to bring that up. Oftentimes, we have our nice little meter here on the right. We have a 0, that's again what we refer to as unity. And if you start to go above that, you might see some orange and yellow lights. That's often an indication that you're maybe going to be clipping or distorting. Not good. So it's best to always try to make sure that you're below that, and usually it's a good indicator of kind of where you can set your overall headroom. So I'll go ahead and bring this level up slowly. Check, check, 1, 2, check, check, 1, 2. Get this turned back around here. Check, check, 1, 2, check, check, 1, 2, check, 1, 2, test 1, 2. I would say that's a very comfortable level. Now going back to the two EQ knobs here, this is again to adjust for if you're in a band situation or plugging in instruments. Oftentimes for house of worship or even for press conferences and meetings, you won't need to use that a whole lot, so it's usually okay to leave that right up at noon. Now, let's say you have somebody that has a real boomy boomy, bassy voice, you might want to cut those lows out a little bit. Or for my example, usually I like to bring up my highs to get a little bit more clarity out of there. You can already hear a difference by just adjusting that a little bit. Again, if you're just generally using it for speaking, usually you can leave those right up at noon. If you have any other further questions, comments, you can leave them in the comments below, and we'll, again, kind of come back and do a little more terminology and a little more deep dive in future videos. Thanks.